But it's always work in progress. You can never say that it's done.
Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a warm welcome to all of you. It is with great pleasure that I, Siddhant, and Nishkash, and our entire team of IIM Kashipur would, with immense excitement, stand before you to introduce Perennial, the annual HR summit organized by the Indian Institute of Management, Kashipur. This momentous event marks another milestone of our ongoing efforts towards bridging the gap between academia and industry. IIM Kashipur, as it is known for the academic rigor, innovative approach, and commitment to nurturing future leaders, as one rightly sits beside us, has always been at the forefront of addressing the evolving challenges and opportunities in the business world. Now, our previous engagements, especially in developing industry relations, include Samanvay, which is another annual HR conclave, which is actually held at IIM Kashipur campus itself, and Tejas, a leadership talk session, which is hosted both online and offline. Today, we gather here to discuss and deliberate the future of human resources. Human resources is the heart of any organization. Also, I would like to gladly inform everyone that in our live stream, we have by now more than 500 participants and more are incoming. So let's make this event participate and make this one a great one.
So the theme of Perennial this year is Future Ready HR, Nurturing Talent for Tomorrow's Success. And the topic is HR Strategies for Agile and Resilient Workforce. This theme and topic reflects how HR role is essential in cultivating an agile and resilient workforce by promoting continuous learning in today's rapidly evolving industry. Yeah. So over the next few hours, we'll have the privilege of hearing from distinguished speakers, industry experts, and thought leaders, which we have right now, who will share their insights, experiences, and visions for upskilling employees to meet future demands, from mentorship programs to digital learning platforms as part of HR strategies for fostering an agile and resilient workforce. Our agenda is packed with engaging panel discussions, interactive Q&A sessions, business luncheon, and that will provide a platform for learning, collaboration, and innovation. Post the panel discussion, we have the final round of our national level case competition, that is Factorial, which is organized by Titan, the IT and Analytics Club of IIM Kashipur, followed by felicitation ceremony.
I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our distinguished panel members. Firstly, I would like to introduce Mr. Gaurav Chopra, who is the head of our operations and transformation at ATM. Gaurav Chopra is a seasoned HR leader with over 18 years of experience. He has served as an HRO lead transformation for top organizations across various geographies like India, UAE, Asia Pacific, Europe, Germany, and Egypt. He is currently the head of HR operations. And prior to KTM, he had held key leadership roles, especially the head of customer success at MediAssist, director and head of human resources at India and Southeast Asian Alliance. He has also featured in prominent reports such as Randstad uh, Diversity and Inclusion Report for 2020, as well as Randstad Future of India Report in 2021. I would like to welcome you, sir, and I would request sir to kindly give a token of appreciation to Mr. Gaurav Chopra.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we would like to welcome Ms. Sheetal Sharma, the Associate Director of People and Culture at Grant Thornton. She is a dynamic people leader specializing in leadership hiring, talent development, and HR projects. She is a passionate change enthusiast who believes in creating a winning culture of entrepreneurship and experiential learning for its employees aligned to the sustainability goals of the organization. She is also a happiness coach by default who aims to introduce fun at work by gamifying business goals and launching employee centric champions to create a happily empowered workforce. We welcome so we request Dr. Deepa Kamatha, the chair of placement, to present him to the token.
I would like to introduce Mr. Kamal Jofit, who is the DGM of Asian Paints. First, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for being a moderator at this particular event. A brief introduction, he has had a stellar track record at esteemed organizations such as Polar Co, Stone to Milestone, and Koyo. He has held great excellent leadership and strategic acumen at Polar. He excelled as category sales manager and marketing development manager, driving market growth for luxury home products. His experience at Toyo further showcases the ability to lead teams, make impactful P&L decisions, and expand business footprints across various regions in India. Once again, a warm welcome to you.
Now, we like to welcome Senior Director at PwC India, leading talent acquisition and workforce planning to align with the firm's long-term goals. With nearly 2 decades of industry experience, he has also led HR business transformation, employee experience, and talent acquisition and transformation. His innovative approach, leveraging the build for the buy framework, has defined workforce composition and successfully met the staffing needs of various businesses. Today, we have the privilege of hearing insights from someone who has not only shaped HR strategies, but has also played a crucial role in fostering skilled workforces aligned with long-term business vision. We welcome we would request Dr. Kurmakas, the Chair of this present to the token of
Thanks a lot, sir. Now, I would like to introduce Ms. Kush Mahajan, an energetic and promising human resources business partnership leader with 20 years of experience in the IT and ITES industry. She is currently leading as the HR director at Kyndryl India. With a rich experience in IBM, she has demonstrated expertise in leadership across including domestic India, South Asia, and West All. Her tenure focuses on problem solving and leadership development, driving HR initiatives that enhance organizational performance. Her esteemed experience as HR business partner for domestic and global delivery further solidified her foothold in the managing complex HR functions, making her a pivotal contributor to various HR transformation efforts. Once again, we would like to welcome you, ma'am, and I request this Mukul sir, our Senior Administrative Officer, placements to present her with the program appreciation.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we would like to welcome Mr. Himanshu Pan, the AVP of Human Resources at Stripe. He is an HR leader with over 15 years of experience in diverse industries. He has led talent acquisition, engagement, and performance management with various organizations and emerging startups. He is serving as the Assistant VP of HR at Stripe. So we would like to welcome and we request Professor Uttar to present him with the token of appreciation.
I would like to introduce our esteemed professors and members of placement office. So first, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Professor Utkarsh. He is the chairperson of placements and corporate relations and also the associate professor in marketing. He has over 8 years of teaching experience and research experience in the field of marketing management, and he has received an MBA PhD from University of London. Thank you so much for attending this particular lecture. I would also like to introduce Mr. Atul Srivastava. He's the senior executive of business. He's also looking after all other flagship programs of IIM Kashipur and currently the secretary to the board of governors of the institute. Again, thank you for attending this evening.
Now we would like to welcome Dr. Deepak Verma. He is the chairperson of Placement and Corporate Relationships and Associate Professor in Marketing. He received MBA from IIM Kashipur and PhD from IIM. Thank you so much for attending the event. Yeah. So now we'd like to welcome Mr. Gaurav Saxena. He's the placement manager who is looking after the corporate relationships and placement at IIM Kashipur. Thank you so much.
I would also like to mention our team members who have significantly again contributed to this event. Addressing our senior placement coordinators, Anish, Satyajit, Adarsh, and Shrey. Our junior placement coordinators, me, Sinan, Nishkash, Nishi, and our Indian public Abhijit. Now, I would also like to invite Professor Kush in order to give an address to all of our people present here. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of IIM Perennial Group. So Perennial 1 this year was organized in Bangalore, and we reach out to the industry and reaching where they live, where they are, and possibly make them easier to reach out to us and interact with our students. And we are also doing activities, reach out to the corporates, to our campus, and it's a pleasure to have this esteemed panel. You can look at their experience, probably it's a combined experience of more than 80 years. So you have a lot to learn, and there is again a lot of students are already listening to you for the live stream. So we have ensured that if we can't bring all the guests, at least we can bring them to the guests through the live world. So at least COVID has taught us that there are no limitations, and we can do it. And probably that's how the new generation also continues to learn. And probably this is also the theme that we are going to discuss, how HR is evolving and how it is changing. Probably it has a lot of lessons for us because as faculty and as academic institutions, we are the people who are dealing for the first 2 years in terms of how they should be learning, how they learn from the shapes, how they are really learning. There are a lot of things to be done, and always do this something like the academics is a bit theory oriented, it likes to read, but then there's a practical word out there. And the industry reach out like we purpose basically to make an effort to fill that gap. That can only be filled if we listen from the mouth, if we listen from the word experience. So that's the whole project of university. So Perennial is one such initiative that doing it in cities. And number two, so that is against the campus. And apart from that, you're engaged with the student leadership. So about IIM Kashipur, just a brief overview of the campus too. So IIM Kashipur is now a 13-year-old institute and growing leaps and bounds if you compare it to the opposite institutions in the same way. So we are, you can say, the Gen Z of the academic institutions. So at some level, yes, it's a lot of pressure in terms of what the government expects, industry expects, because here there is a 50-year-old, 60-year-old institute and 50-year-old institute, and probably they are expected to be at the same level. You have to do a lot, and these are the initiatives which probably we can match the expectations of. So now, because we are already delayed, apologies for that. We can understand this is Delhi and they have to expect the unexpected. So I will not talk a lot and will leave the dice for the team panel members to discuss and to share the about the team based on the future of HR and how we move HR. Thanks a lot. Question. I think now I would like to hear from the boss of itself. So I would like to extend this to you, Mr. Kamal Ravi, so that we can have this feedback. Thank you. Thank you.
Good good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks a lot. This sets the tone for the discussion. And by hearing the clapping, I think we'll have your breakfast. Okay. Let's hear it once more. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So, as mentioned by your team members, is first of all, thank you. Thank you for inviting to this team panel discussion. I will be your moderator for the recording. And my name is Karan. Basically, the topic for today would be agile and resilient workforces, making our HR future ready. So, in the current age, we have so many shifts. Uh, there was a global shift, then there are economic shutdowns, then there are pandemics which have been talk of the town for last 2020, 2019, 2021. A lot of things changed. Okay. So we would be talking about the things first on the agility, how agile organization should be, and how HR as a function can make it more agile and more in the terms of discussion, having that first phase for the employee and going out in the and when we are hiring and when we are setting the cultures in the team. So we'll be starting, and I would request this team to take this with the we making sure that we are never after. That's what my job would be. So first, the question I would say would be how an HR can make an organization agile. So can we have more minds, please?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So can we start?
Hi, good morning. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the question is, how can HR make the workforce more agile and resilient? So there are two perspectives, right? First perspective is from, and I will share two. Why? Because I will share one from a personal perspective, my own perspective, and the second is from my organization, what people is doing. Right? From personal perspective, I think the most important is we have that HR is a human resource. That's what we call HR for. And we have to stay as human as possible when it comes to agility, resilience. All of these things will form its own shape when we keep our principles aligned, which is staying human, right? You must be hearing a lot about AI and how the roles are going to get changed and how things are getting evolved for human resources as a function. But keep the core value system, the core system, which is of need and instinct as a human, so where we understand people. That's our job, right? Machines can perhaps replace and give us a lot of data and insights, but the conversation and staying human is something which is part of this function. From Kyndryl's standpoint and for the audience to know what Kyndryl is all about, this is a startup. It's a 2.5-year-old startup. It's a spin-off from IIM. It's an independent company, $90 billion globally. We have a workforce in India close to about 40,000. And we are the largest globally, the most, I would say, into IT infrastructure and into application support for various industries. We name the industry and we do the IT infrastructure for them. When we had spun off from IBM, it was very important to set the tone what we are today now, because we are an independent company. So the culture is the most important thing that we had started to build upon. And we were sharing as the panel members that culture is, is something that will not end its journey after 2 years or after 3 years. It's a continuous, right? So you have to be agile in this. You have to continuously keep on reinventing and rethinking about the same. So we have a value system in Kyndryl, which we call it as Kyndryl Way. We call it REDFFF. restless, empathetic, devoted. These are the three qualifications for RP. And fast, flat, focused. That's what our customers want us to be. Right? And that's what we want our employees to do. So it's very important that we make our people understand. So we co-created the culture. It was not the HR function who created the culture. We asked our employees, right, our 90,000 plus employees globally to participate in the culture jam session, participate in terms of what kind of value system that they would like to provide and live upon. And then it is the responsibility of each of us as individual, whether it is HR or business. It's not something that HR is going to drive. It's also the partnership with the business that we inculcate the value system to the employees through various initiatives, which I will be talking in the forthcoming questions that we will be addressing the group here. So I'll give it back to you now.
So,
So I belong to Grant Thornton Bharat, a consulting firm, professional services firm. In our kind of a setup, what agility stands for us is that we feel it's important to make our employees agile and ready to adapt to changing environment. Right? So that's what COVID also taught us. People who were agile, organizations who had agility as a topmost priority survived and they survived well. Uh, since then, I think our belief in agility really was really important. And for us, like she said, her two perspectives, for us, the top two bits which we do as an HR function to make our people agile is number one. We ensure that they are people who are open to constructive feedback. Uh, so we give them forums, we give them platforms where we share feedback with them at every juncture. It's not like a year-long cycle and then you wait for that 1 year of review cycle that feedback conversation. No. It's a continuous process where every month the reporting person or the reporting manager has to sit with you on the feedback, share that continuous feedback over a series of 12 months throughout the year, and accordingly people adapt to be open to receiving that constructive feedback, both positive as well as negative, and change or modify their style of working accordingly. This approach of being open to feedback really helped in making them agile. And of course, it's work in progress. It is not that every person in the organization is agile, but that is really helpful. That's number one. To meet them or give them platform for constructive feedback and open them to that feedback. Second, which really helped us was to provide a culture or an ecosystem which ensures continuous learning. So what we did last year and a half back was we started the concept of learning passports. So we said that every employee across all tiers in the organization will have a learning passport. सबको एक issue बना, right? Every learning passport based on their level in the organization. You would have a, let's say, a senior leadership, have a mid tier, and you would have, the tier which is just joined or is somewhere between fresher to a mid kind of a stage. Every tier has their well-defined, customized, personalized learning path, right? They need to, as per their skill sets or as per their skill demographics, choose what are the learning programs they will pursue across the year. We provide them all. But then they decide, okay, maybe I'm good at communication, I'm somebody who is weaker in data analytics, so I pick up my program on data analytics. In short, the learning passports were made available. They were oriented to take up these learning passports. And number three, we gave them different channels of pursuing these learning. So there were in-person practice labs where they practiced what they learned. There were virtual training sessions, and there was an on-the-go, kind of a on-the-move kind of a mobile app where very and they could just learn while they're on the go. So all three platforms were given to them. So I think creating an ecosystem which is thriving on providing continuous learning and an ecosystem which is providing openness to be taking that feedback helps us make our people better. We are consulting them. So that's what probably works for our industry, maybe different for others.
started off with a mention of the generation, the millennial generation, Gen Z generation, etc. And the topic being agility. Let me try sort of look at empathy that came through. So I will not quote my organization's name here, for very specific reasons because we're not supposed to. But let me tell you a perspective very clearly as to how we approach uh, HR, or rather the future of HR in our present job, and what it has been with my previous assignments, and in general the construct of it. One, I think the journey has to be individualized, or what an employee necessarily experiences as an offering of the organization. So if I'm an employee of an organization, what is it that I'm expecting? I'm expecting a little bit more personalized view of my life, the way my life behaves outside the organization. Right? So each one of us here has a mobile phone, but you will have a different kind of an experience out of the same mobile phone. The mobile phone being your organization. Okay, the experience has to be individualized and very different. How do you ensure that itself is where the thinking of agility of if I have to use actually an acronym which is an industry accepted acronym, is design thinking goes in, right? So we approach it from two perspectives. There is in an organizational context, you will have a management or an employee expectations. Okay, and on the other side, there are employees. We have to meet somewhere in the middle. That midpoint is where we could come in and ensure that there is an employee experience individualized delivered through a mechanism, which is just suiting your requirements and suiting the requirements of either all the generations or your or specific tasks that you may have. Let me give that an example. Um, Learning, like you mentioned, learning is one very personalized aspect. Is something that you don't necessarily have to consume the way the organization asks you to consume the way your jobs specifically requires of it. Right? There is a job description. We move from a job description aspect to a skills description now because we are also adding in as everybody individually here in our personal lives, we are adding a lot of skills to our portfolio. To open anybody's LinkedIn, you will not necessarily find a graduate degree and an MBA etc. there anymore. उसके बाद 50 certifications होती हैं. They are running like a skyscraper of skills. And when you add that, what you do is that you don't want to do just the job that you're in today. You want to sort of future-proof yourself, and you want to sort of make yourself more agile and acceptable in other aspects as well. Multi-company, maybe do work or whatever. For that, we created a platform that is really ingesting your skills we have on our platform and throwing out programs to you, which you can consume in bytes. And those bytes are not as those bytes are as long as 5 to 7 minutes, and that's it. And this is one specific customized output that we do, and which is where the design part of it starts with the empathy. The design thinking is 4 parts of it broadly. If you want to think of it, it starts with empathy. It doesn't end with it. It starts with empathy. Then you move typically to understanding what your employee requires. Then you build or ideate around a platform or how you want to sort of deliver it. And then you prototype and deliver. Right? Typically, this is what design thinking is. And we do exactly the same when it comes to every element of HR. And we want to, since we are a platform and a product organization, we want to productize. Typically productize. So that when you're consuming it how you would consume maybe WhatsApp in a personal life. Similarly, you do the same while you are at your jobs. This is how I feel personally. The function or the agility sort of comes in for an employee.
So I will actually keep it short. See, from what you're being said, into this work, we have few other software aspects, I would say. One, primary thing, I would say is the trust factor. Like post-COVID, people are seeing things. And trust was one of the, like what was the major worry of the managers before COVID, if you asked about it, I don't know what. But COVID made the differently. And what is that trust is, that's how trust put it first. Second, I would say skill. So a lot of investors are concentrated in keeping people updated because what he realizes, he- he- investing people are huge. Somebody asked the people that they invest in people, and I say that oh, people need to spend so much on skill people. What if they do? The response was, what if you don't skill them, make them better, and they stay, right? So that was another aspect. Then, third aspect, tools of trade. Whatever is needed for somebody to succeed, create that back. Very good topic about you that if a plant is not growing, you don't start engineering the plant. You work around the environment of you can create the those are the project environments of other aspects. These are the two things I would add to what is already.
So I know that Pat has already, discussed a lot of perspectives, perspective of agile workforce and how the organization. According to me, I will just give some context about current organization that I'm working with. And I think the way the organization itself has shown a great ability to really stay in the business. So I don't know if it's not right, it's a 360-degree evolving business company. The current organization, well, initially when the founder thought of starting the organization, it was initially a goal. So when you say goal verification, it's really interesting business. It means that if a person has a person who knows about wants to book, let's say, a full session at the workforce. Initially, they used to have to go out to the workforces and get booking time. And that's when the founder realized that there is an opportunity of creating a technology, enabling technology, business space, and then going forward. As an organization, we are B2B company, which means that our clientele are mostly banks. So gold offering was one of the most offering was one of the business categories that we were with. However, while this organization succeeded, a lot of clients come back to us asking for more. And if that's when the founders realize that there are opportunities out in the market and what else do we go back and give back to the businesses of organizations that we cater to. And that's where COVID is us. A lot of organizations, kind of still during the COVID period, I think, types of organizations as a new stage has tried. They realize there are a lot of opportunities available in this space. And that's where this entire OPC suspension business whole thing, then us starting with, a lot of organizations with providing a lot of our clients with benefits such as, star benefits, lunch benefits. They had a lot of benefits, and they same through. And approach not actually organization grown multi-fold from having 70 people employed to 300 people employed. I totally feel that while this activity is going on, while you're hiring people in the organization, you also need to evaluate whether those people are the right fit to really, really fit into the organization or not. And I think recruitment, when you recruit and hire talent, is again a very critical element for HR professionals to ensure that your start of the organization is really flourishing. I think thinking is extremely important over and above while you evaluate people on skills. I would say psychometric assessments are extremely important, and that should be utilized to see that with the talent that you're hiring has that agility to consider the organization. And that is one. Second thing which I would like to say is a lot of behavioral issues that another initiative of a lot of organizations are taking to ensure that people that we are hiring are aligned with the organization values. thing which I would like to state is what Kush has said. It's about taking those feedback online and trying to drive on feedback to excellence. One of the opportunities that I used to do something called a Great Place to Work survey. It's a US-based organization. Close to 62 questions we used to ask for our employees on the organization culture. The idea was just not to take feedback. The idea was to also, drive change and drive a better culture in the organization. And once we receive those feedback, we used to go back to our leaders and managers and share those feedback with them. And we used to do very detailed discussions with them. And the discussion was around stop and continue. If the manager is doing a good job, the team will come back and tell them right on his face that these are the few things that they're actually doing well. If the manager is not doing something well, that is something which is come under the stock category. And continuing everything is something where, you as a manager, you continue to do a lot of stuff which you're actually doing well. The idea is that two things, I think, like hiring the right people on time and when you're able to hire the right talent, taking regular feedback from the employees and making an improvement. I think these are two things which, according to me, will make
Thanks. The next question I would have from you, because you have answered the partial part of it. My question is around how do you nurture and identify a high potential employee and then make him agile enough?
That's a great question, and I would say that I've been working on some of these initiatives. I've been in talent development everything throughout. To really express myself, I would say that I'm a hardware identity guy. If you ask me to speak, I'm continuing to do that. I really believe in talent development. So basically, today, or every organization is working through the phase of retaining talent and retaining high quality talent. Uh, Now, identification of talent may happen two different ways, right? But a lot of managers will come to you and say that, hey, this guy is a top performer in my team. Why don't you promote him? But at times, performance is just not really equivalent to high potential. High potential is at a much more larger aspect, that's what I feel. So a lot of framework that we use in HR is there's a framework called a 9 blocks grid, which we have used some of these companies. Title we have used the framework, and nothing we have used a very similar framework. The idea was to actually create talent in the organization based on their potential and the company values and the organization use potential and performance at access to really leverage and deep dive into whether talent, how to 9 blocks, where does the talent fit in, whether he's a superstar, whether he's a star, whether he's a charter contributor, right? So basically, plugging talent in different grades and then basically making certain decisions on the future of talent. Another initiative that we have taken as our talent development initiative is around also creating talent councils within the company, which means that if it's a large organization to identify talent within the region, you have a council, you have leadership discussion about talent. But again, there is another council at a corporate level where you discuss talent and decide the future and what are goals available in the organization. At fourth stage, I would say that the CXO level talent council, again, those talents are discussed and vertical roles are identified. Another thing which I would like to comment from a talent development perspective is a framework that we have used at our group. And this framework is called 2 into 7. It basically means that every talent in the organization will get exposure to 2 different businesses, 2 different, two different businesses, 2 different geographies, and 2 different functions. Multiplied by certain different myself was part of that talent. Where I was leading the retail training function at IIM, spent around 3 years in that role, and there was a concept of a career concept that we used to do in each of the one. So while my L&D leader had to sort of with me to really understand what I want to do next, and that's where the two options they were be. Either you can go into a macro sales role or maybe into the HR role. So I personally want to explore multiple opportunities within the HR function, and I decided to and move into a HR function. But here was the gap is that I am from my hometown is also Kashipur. Delhi is something which is very close to my home. I always prefer to be in Delhi, but on the other side, Titan doesn't work that way. So basically, the Titan as an organization always wants to get into uncomfortable zone and explore new markets and it's a new round. I was given a role as an HR business partner and I've actually worked out Delhi to Calcutta. Uh, and Calcutta was one city wherein I took a lead, and while I was getting transferred, I was talking to Calcutta as a person and for a time. So it was also opportunity for me to explore very different geography, different people, different set of working. And frankly, the objective of the organization at that point in time is to move you to a much more difficult situation, move you to a different geography so that they prepare you they prepare you for a much larger role in the organization. You take a bigger role, let's say, in corporate. So these are two, three, initiatives I have to say. I've seen and which has really helped us retain talent in the organization. And frankly, sometimes when I was speaking to one of the CHR a couple of months back, and I was speaking to him about employee engagement. And frankly, he told me one thing that Raju, one of the biggest engagement that you can do for any is helping them develop it. And they will always and always remember you doing that. I'm not against either those or open door, but hiring, firing, it happens in the organization, but people who will always able to you is to help them develop and do. And these are some strategies which helped me as a person.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question. We have talked about how it's already inside the. My first part of the question was, how do you identify the first place? So, see, if you have a set of 7 students, right, which are freshers you are sitting in front of, how do you identify that? What is the process, or is there any framework for that as well, where we can, go there and identify that this is the kind of these all the ticks which he does or she does that can make him potentially a good employer.
That's a very, very interesting question. So I would say that if you a lot of organizations that I've worked with, they have a beautiful model of giving the management training exposure to different verticals, right? Now, while you get exposure to different verticals in the organization, I feel it's also something is too much management training is able to get that this is what he or she wants to do. So don't take it too I'm going backwards to my previous company, which is an art they also have a 70-long management training program. Post that, they will again push you into a uncomfortable zone. I will ask you to go to, let's say, why I was the title I've seen, push you to, let's say, go to a store in Calcutta and it's spend some time in the store for understanding the people. Suddenly, next week, you're listening to the finance team, who what these guys do. Will hopefully you'll spend some time with the HR team to understand what the houses are about. And that's where, at the end of your management training stint, you are also asked what is your motivation, you see yourself. A lot of times I feel that people who who may end up doing the MBA HR specialization, I don't decide to go into sales because that is something which I can never go into at a future stage. And that is where, in learning, what we say is that the principle of 70-20, where 10% learning comes from classroom or every program that you do, 20% learning typically comes from peer-to-peer learning or recording from let's say your faculty member. But 70% comes from on-the-job learning. And hence, learning is becoming more experiential in nature. And and I think that is where to answer to your question, organizations are making those choices and making those initiatives with the companies where they give multiple or 360 students to make a choice of where they want to grow and where to grow within the company. And apart from this, as I said, the first thing I identify if you have the potential but you don't have, I'm not delivering performance, there's no point. Right? The first thing is performance. And then slowly, gradually, as you are pushed to how much difficult territory, the managers also see whether you have the right potential to scale up.
Thank you, sir.
So, yeah, I would say, and then I would cover it from an organization standpoint, and then see, we need to, there will be three phases. One, when you enter an organization, then, that factor for what's provided, how exactly you are able to perform, are you getting the opportunity for, obviously, are you able to showcase the performance? And so that becomes a better honestly. And after that, the various programs, they will have various leadership programs, they will have a professional services accompanying for what kind of skills, what kind of behaviors, what you need to have, display. So these are some of the parameters which are set out in most of the organizations in one form or the other. They will have various kinds of jargons to call it up, but ultimately it will be on the skills in terms of the skills, what you know, how you're looking for, on those skills and all. Utilize that. And then second, what kind of behavior is it? So, to culturally to the organization. Definitely, these two pieces, will happen. But more relevant for this group, I would say, the what we have been talking about, is products of the organization. But when people are taking, interact with students from personally, I always say, fundamental of the education side, of when you read your academics, novel, the languages, the efforts, what have the means about that. But things, when you personally stand out, is actually that they have that. That's like it. That's get the point. So, if you're able to look at it, you have the right mindset. Like, one thing which is very common is you're getting into organization, and then it has to do with how the generations of in the country have evolved. It has to do with our personal lifestyle also. Mostly, I would say, there's a are you ready to go to office and pick up any job? That is, are you really at the team place? And when you're there, are you going to go first? That's an example of attitude. Example of attitude. You're on a project, you're on a team, and the team would, trying to find a solution for some problem. Because team, process services set up, so, then I can able to improvise. I'll give you an example. Like, here this now that very platform. The speed of the training and our technology team was advising us clients, and there was a problem statement which they were trying to address. research, probably spent up to night, and came up with a solution. And next time we shared a solution, everybody was very excited and we got developed and it was presented to them. You can imagine people who are putting into a room who have done multiple projects, years of experience. And it was not expected of great to let research come up with possible solution and keep the research yes, others with their experience will develop further. So the question was to be and started able to learn, in the way to provide. These are the factors like these annual meetings to the organization. That becomes one to show the spark if the person is on the way to become a top manager. Just to recap, obviously your proven performance track record, your how well you're doing and listening, the technical and other skills. Third, your behavior, the culture, etc. is going to display. Then, how you are generally with
Yes, pretty much my understanding of the question is that how is looking at identifying talent, both from a potential point of view, specifically people who are within the organization, and also in cases where we're looking at people coming in and joining the organization from outside. It could be a college, it could be another course. Right? So when we hire, hiring happens in various life stages of an employee's career. It could be right from a fresher to a second job, so on and so forth. So, first of all, my 2 cents around that is there is more conversation around potential, really how people use in a way. It draws a conversation around the theory around potential and how interpretation. However, if you want to really objectify it and as a takeaway, there is an analogy of we've all gone out and to restaurant. Right? So there are two kinds. There is one when a restaurant have up to thali mila. They will give a thali, right? Then 5 sabji and 15 whatever, and nothing else will be served beyond that. It will just top that specific piece up. Right? Is that what you want as an employee? Is that what you want as an employer? Is one aspect. What people really want is a buffet, right? Where you have an option to exercise choice, exercise quantity, and exercise what you want to pick up and why is that good to you as an individual, for the organization, and vice versa. Right? Now coming to the life stage of it, let's be honest, realize the reality of life is not about loyalty anymore. It's about people who will be known for their for the capability and what they can contribute over whatever defined period, 6 months, 1 year, whatever, not necessarily. So if I were to sort of go out and hire people, you want to give them an environment of they being defensive and highly competitive on the table that you're sitting on. So for example, if I look at this table, there are like 6 people then, and if we set up a case study and a GD and an interview piece, you guys will try and either fight out with each other, or you will loud, or whatever, but you will not be in your own personal elements, right? You're trying to overpower the other in whichever fashion you can. So typically, what we do in terms of hiring is we actually take a time off, and we don't have to decide today, right? So the specific use case, the business case, go back in your own way. Please come back and present. The way-based presentation may happen today, but it is for you to ideally think about, come back and present what your perspective about the situation at hand is, which is a real business challenge that we want to sort of hire you for, and understand your thoughts. And eventually, over a period of time, we can coach you your way up there. So that is one aspect how we want to identify talent from outside, specifically at the earlier stages. At the future stages, we don't necessarily harp a lot on on um, on your either on your education to some extent, and what is it that you bring as competence or performance that is established already. So you had it. Okay, what is important now going forward is the potential benefits. Have you adapted well enough to how your previous organizations or your current organizations have been to survive to begin with? And secondly, if you did you do something better over it? AI aa gaya, when AI comes in, could you keep up with it? Could you sort of keep up with it? And was there anything that you took a hit on? Did you add new skills? So on and so forth. That's how those are key indicators of potential, not necessarily performance. Right? So those indicators are paramount for us when we make those decisions, even at various decisions of life. And I'm very conscious of the fact that we will not offer anything over and above loyalty. We would sort of reward and appreciate the competence. There's one case study that I would like to go back and read on is the Netflix HR culture map. Please go. So one piece about that is very it's very crucial to me. I think is that you are as good as your severance package. Okay, if you are not good in a specific task, it doesn't mean that you're not good as a professional. Those things are not required anymore as Netflix is doing. So keeping your face, it's great that you're relevant. But if not, you would be given your severance package in your back. So that's one thing I would urge that you guys sort of look at.
Thanks, Gaurav. So, for us, for a consulting setup like ours, high potential or hypo employees, the way we call it, how do we identify? So, be it our existing employees or people who are prospective employees, right? We do not declare them as hypos until they join the company, right? Because we don't know how they may be a great performer in their current organization, current role, or college or internship, but we don't know how they would piece out in consulting setup, right? Everybody has their own pluses and minuses. So first, declaration of hypos is not done at the identification stage, at least in our setup, right? We have the person working with us for at least, if it's a new joiner for a year, before we declare them to be a high performer. And somebody who's an existing employee, again, bases their past year's performance within the organization. So that means a high potential is identified basis the parameters which I just shared, but basis how they have performed in our culture after joining and at least for a year's time. That assessment happens. Now that assessment happens on two parameters. First is the goals, which is your performance goals, which are evaluated. So in our setup, in a GT kind of a setup, we have two sets of goals. So there's something called purple chips and there's something called white chips. So purple chips are your key result areas, so your key focus areas while you are in a role. The white chips are probably your additional roles which you are working on. For example, I could be an HR expert who's managing HRDP or HR business partnering responsibilities, but I take in diversity, equity, inclusion as an add-on project or CSR as an add-on project. So those are my white chips. Now, to declare me as a high performer, I have to be performing above expectations on my purple chips and all my purple chips. So I would have three goals, three key goals. I should be above expectation on all those three. That above expectation is already told to the employee or to the person before. So, for example, if my role is a defined role, right? If I'm doing that defined role, I'm doing it to the best of my ability, exceptional output, that meets expectation. Nobody expects you to be not doing the current set of responsibilities uh, in a tarnished fashion. Right? You want it to be done exceptionally well. If you're doing it exceptionally well, you still meet expectation. But if you go beyond in meeting those goals, that's when you're above expectation. So all our high performers on goals have to be above expectation and all purple chips. That's number one. The second assessment we do to or identify a high performing employee is alignment to the core values. Right? So our firm has some core behaviors which we have identified for people. That is, so we follow something called as care behaviors, care values, which stands for collaboration, empathy, respect, excellence. So how close, again, those are also measurable. There are measurable value languages which are given, which are assigned to each of the rules. So how well am I aligned to those core values? Am I somebody who is a me-focused person or a we-focused person? Somebody who believes in we is, again, that this person is a high performer. Right? So this way we have so two alignment, goal alignment, value alignment. Value may we also have a focus on core behavior alignment. Once that is met, then my employees get a high potential employee. This high potential employee is then treated in a different fashion than what somebody as a high employee if they are treated as other employees. If he is a high potential employee, he or she has to be given that high potential treatment, I should say. Right? So we for that, how to manage them, we have a program called GG2F, which is so GG2FT, the program stands for GG2 was the platform, FT is fast track. Right? So we ensure fast track that person, a high potential employee, or the person would, for example, would be fast track on the organization, would also be the person would be fast-tracked on towards the implementation, both in terms of benefits as well as monetary benefits. The person would be fast-tracked on the education policy which the firm has. For example, if all regular employees are able to pursue a certification or an educational degree, higher educational degree, at a 50% contribution by the firm, these employees would get it close to a 25 to 80%. Right? So again, a differential treatment on education is. And fourth is, of course, learning programs. These people are aligned to or they are eligible to also participate in learning programs which are led by member firms of Grant Thornton. We are open to explore employment opportunities with other international firms. So, but the idea is we have a well-defined program, which is a fast track program for them, which identifies again, it's tough to get through. You would have, let's say, assuming that 100 employees, every year, barely be 8 to 10 who will get through that. And once they get through, they get a differential treatment, so they deserve it. All right, so that's the approach. All right, so I'll start with the Kyndryl as an organization is an IT company, as you all know, right? So very much technology savvy. We have everything gets managed through various tools. So for us, Workday is source, and we have everything on Workday, right? Nothing on emails, on spreadsheets, so on and so forth. Now, from a top talent identification and the integration that is built to top talent, how it happens. I'll take you to and I'll try to make it very simple. Sometimes we take very complicated, and I think as we love simple. Um, the whole intervention actually starts from the pre-hire stage, right? So when we are getting outside the market to hire people, all the segments, experienced and freshers. For freshers, in fact, we try to reach out to the universities and colleges and narrate them that these are the future skills that we are going to build upon, right? We are going to see a lot of contracts coming to our way. These are the skills that we would like to have our people uh, get their education on. And if the colleges and universities are only theoretical information, which most of the universities and colleges will do, people is here and we will be, curating a technical curriculum for people to go through those courses. So that, when they join us, if they're not a part of the existing Kyndryls, but at least they are able to understand the technology because, we are a technology company, right? So we do this as one of the steps with the universities that we have done, mostly with all the universities and colleges that we've done in High so this is what we call it pre-hire. And we have every week there is a connect that will happen between the Kyndryl and the new hires that we are going to absorb. And everybody will come with their different notice periods, right? And if they are coming from the colleges, maybe they are joining in 6 months' time. So we don't want to use the contact or a connect with people who are going to become Kyndryls. So in a way, we call it as KYK, which is Know Your Kyndryl. We have almost declared that Kyndryl is your company, right? You're going to join us. So we do it Know Your Kyndryl. We also do a lot of weekend ITs with them so that we get to meet the various set of leaders
various set of COEs, the CTOs and the CXOs of the company. So that's the kind of design that we have from a pretty higher perspective. Now, once you join the organization, again, since I said at the beginning, it's a technology company, we are very much into tools, which is Workday for us. There will be a trigger that will be going to the managers in terms of the touch points with the new hire, right? So the touch points will also go to the employee, and we have a buddy system, meaning every new hire will be introduced to a buddy. No matter you are an experienced person joining a company as a vice president, or you're joining a an organization as an associate, every individual will be aligned a buddy, and this buddy will stay on for them with the hire for the next 90 days. There is a very structured list of activities that the buddy and the new hire will get along from 30 to 90 days, from 0 to 90 days. And the most important aspect is understanding culture, what Kyndryl is all about, what the customer is, what the client expectation is, what are the various policies that we have. And we have something called My Kyndryl. It's a service now platform that we have, and all employees can go to My Kyndryl and look upon any policy. And if you have any questions on chat, so we are going to, and maybe we'll cover in one of the topics that how with AI coming, how the roles of HR is also transforming. So HR is no more a transactional or tactical job. Right? That was, I think, the past. Solving employee queries, very simple, which employees can afford. Look it on their, on their phone itself, right? They don't have to be dependent on an HR to ask a question or a manager to understand the policy. Of course, you can, and there is a chatbot available, but beyond the chatbot, you also have a tier three support to answer your questions, which are very much customized to your requirements. That is also available. But coming back to how the relay design works. Now, from the 0 to 90-day period, the most important thing that we keep focused on is making them understand the GSF model of Kyndryl, which is Global Skill and Career Framework. Because if you understand the skill and the career framework, then it is absolutely done and dusted for you as an individual. That if I'm joining as an associate with, let's say, 1 year of experience, what are the kind of career opportunities that I have in the organization in the next 1 year? Actually, horizontally, across various technologies, everything is available in this GSCF framework, which is accessible to the employee as soon as you join. The day one, you get to see the framework, right? And each framework is very detailed. In a way, it will tell you the skills that are required, the competencies that are required, and to learn those skills and to practice those competencies, what are the kind of learning plans available? What are the kind of certifications available? Because it's a IT company, so we are very much focused on hyperscaler certifications, making sure that people are getting certified. That's the client requirement. Client wants you to be certified on Microsoft Azure as an example, right? So these, all these skill and career framework is getting linked by the buddy as well, while the employee has a manager behind on the workday, which he or she can of course reach out to. Now, after the GSCF understanding is done and the buddy is there for your 0 to 9 days, the most important thing is when it comes to identifying top talent, right? You have to spend time in an organization for at least one cycle of your performance, right? And to go through this first cycle of performance, the base is how smart you are at writing your goals. Because it's a garbage in, garbage out. If you're not going to write your goals effectively, even your the check-in conversation, as we call it, check-in conversations happen every quarter with your manager. When the check-in conversation happen, I will not be able to give you a constructive or the feedback that my peer colleagues are talking about. It will not happen till the time I don't understand what my goals are. So are my goals really smart? I think we all have heard and learned in our in our ATS, there are calculations that what smart goals are all about. And not only understanding but also practicing. So the first 90 days we will have practice sessions, how to write the goals, your weightages, including understanding of not only my KRAs, which we call it as business results. We divide goals into three portions. Business results, you should have your weightages, you should have thorough understanding of what your role is asking you to perform. That's your business goals. Second is, since I said, we have Kyndryl culture value system, which is RET, FFF, which I said that in the beginning. We have something called responsibility to other goals, right? So which we call it as RTO. So you should have your RTO goals, and RTO goals are different for somebody who is an individual contributor versus to someone who is a manager or who is at a leadership position. So we have very clearly defined, and Kyndryl as an organization will automatically push these goals or work with you. You need to then customize it further because there will be certain things that we want you to demonstrate as Kyndryl behaviors who are working with us in the organization. That goes as part of your goal setting. And the third is development goals, which is more aligned to your career and skills framework that you understood and give you certain development or learning opportunities that you should be through for the next 1 year, and that gets also automatically feeded. Okay, because you are selecting things in the GSTF, that gets pulled into automatically for you. Further customize if you want, depending on what kind of projects that you're working in addition to the business responsibilities. Now, once these goals are, I as an employer, I understand the goal, I'm driving it effectively. There is a quality of, or I would say not the audit, but the quality of the goals which gets monitored between the 90 to 120 days, because the quality of the goals is very, very important. So it's a complete one-on-one interaction that happens between the buddy and that handover that the buddy gives to the manager. Okay, this is your employee, everything has been completed, and during the handover it is made clear that the quality of the goals mentioned on the workday is absolutely understandable between the employee and the manager. Once the goal setting activity is completed, you have your performance cycle, which happens every year. And before that, you also have your quarterly check-ins between you and the manager, and making sure that you can go and take feedback. Feedback is, right? Anybody can give feedback, anyone. It's all it's all through work. Right? So the feedback, how many feedbacks you have given, how many feedbacks you have received, will also be part of the performance assessment that will happen at the end of the year. So it's not only performance goals that I spoke about, business results, responsibility to others, development goals. It will also be how many feedbacks that you're receiving, how many feedbacks you're giving, which talks about the culture of openness. People don't have fear that what will the other person react if I will try something. So it has to be a good culture. Extremely right. Very straightforward, right? That is what we encourage our people to do when it comes to feedback. And the last part will be the whole potential assessment that will be done by the manager using the various frameworks that are already available on the tool. So that by the end of the performance, that the performance is done and the upline reviews it, right? And the HR business partner sits in the conversation, and that's where HR strategy role comes. HR is not here to manage the transactions, but HR is here to have when the upline is taking a decision on identifying talent, and that entry gets on the tool, which is Workday. It is now visible to the employee that yes, you are a top talent. There is a congratulation note goes out to the top talent, and then what's it for you when you are a top talent? And very important activity that we do, not only for top talent, but also for our new hires who are EPH, who are early professional hires. We do a reverse filtering. Meaning every EPH will mentor directors and above. Right? And then there are certain areas that we identify which these mentors who are early professional hires will be mentoring to the directors and above, and they will be not only they will get mentored from the managers or whichever the next level of the leadership available in the organization, but they will also be asked one reverse mentoring activity exercise every year so that it's a learning opportunity for them. It is an opportunity for them to have interactions with the senior leaders and global leadership. So reverse mentoring is a very, very important thing that we put a lot of effort on this when the top talent gets identified, and we have, something called, I will say, inter-inclusion networks. So we have something called KINs, and we have three KINs in the organization, which are focused on mostly on women, LGBTQ plus, and people with disabilities. So we have these three kits. We have volunteers who work on these kits, and they pick up projects. So it's not just the HR or the IDA responsibility to drive initiatives. These are the kits who work on various initiatives, and the top talent are positioned to co-chair or become the chairperson of these and take the entire, run the entire strategy, run the entire initiative for the organization, not only for the company, but maybe happening at the group level as well. So there will be a lot of opportunities for people to do beyond what they're doing in their day-to-day job when the top talent gets identified, right from education, learning, opportunities in various projects, giving them more client-facing roles, and becoming social ambassadors. We do a lot of LinkedIn and X, reviews, and we showcase our talent, and that is an opportunity that gets in front of the top talent. Not that we don't give opportunities to other employees, we do. But the top talent, the top high part of the organization are the first ones. So that's thanks.
So, we were talking about before this, about this hybrid work culture, PwC. Uh, we have been talking about this continuous follow-ups, continuous, feedback. So, uh, what you guys, does it happen often that when there's a hybrid culture, there is no regular or a relationship that is established between the manager and the subordinate? Uh, how it can, like this hybrid work culture, can it be one to can it be organization more? And while you are making it agile, would it be important to have these continuous, constructive feedback that you are giving? Can you do it with this kind of culture, which we see that as a hybrid work culture and coming, two days long, and how do you feel about
Beautiful culture is, I would say, it's with the COVID season, I would say it was a season. So, but it sort of became a practice, and you're right. Was it right? Is it right in this context to have hybrid all over? Perhaps not. In many organizations, it's a very contextual topic. It is contextual to the fact, what jobs would actually thrive in a hybrid setup, and which would not. Therefore, hybrid, by no definition of it, would mean that some of them would have to be in office. They would have to be not in office. They would have to so they will come and go. So it can be the entire set of problems. For example, HR being like a business partnering or require some front a uh, would require two front face. I think at the end of the day. Because whatever set if there's a feedback, I think there's an element of empathy, there's anything else around the soft skills side of it. It would be it would be in an absence of physical interface. And it could, so this is essential of a job. The red folks, the tech folks, sales, for example, yourself, try to get given an opportunity to not be confined to the space, and you're out there with the plan of action is, project teams are, or the people are, so on and so forth. And therefore, a full work from home would probably make sense. Should a hybrid work culture, as an answer to your question, it's something we encourage? Absolutely yes. Certainly yes. It doesn't when you talk from a cost standpoint, talk from a productivity standpoint, right? So that is one yes, certainly yes. Can we do away with hybrid? I would say we should. I think if we all work, then we all this very I think very contextual piece, and it needs to be sort of thought through that. I have a hard line like forms on it. I will not like that. So and vice versa. So that's a key
But see, for our convenience, we have started competizing it. So it's a hybrid work culture, you need to be 5 days. Then it we have to competize. Choose what works for you. It's as simple as that. That's what every organization looks at. That there is certain roles which will, like, for example, you may yes, you have to attend the site, you don't need to sit in office. But some of the work you have to actually require you to be in HR pattern. Today, my HR people spending more time in office than my HR operations person. So yeah, and it was that it is hybrid or remote working in the team working environment. How do we look at the feedback? How do we work, etc. Every organization brings practice feedback wherever remote working or hybrid or employee work, etc. Okay. But it has one of its own challenges, from many benefits also. And one of the benefits is that it has given opportunity, at least in the Indian market, to have more gender diversity in terms of female being still continuing in the workforce. So that's a great advantage for any organization. What is starting to suffer? That relationship part, that in-person, the chit chat that because the learning that happens, the knowledge you by the culture you get by is the positive walk, in the lunches, the team chai, team meetings, you get into these brainstorms. It virtual meetings makes it a bit impersonal the next day. That's but as any practice, I don't. Everybody is going to that club and trying to do the best, and they are improvising in their own space. So it has to be a mix. It has to be what works for. Like in the earlier question, organizations will have kind of set up feedback form. But is it going to benefit you if you think that just writing your goal and having your performance documented, etc., then I'm sorry, my friends, you're in for a rude shock. It is needed. But what will help you grow is the day-to-day feedback. Right? Having those conversations with your managers, with your peers, to come to the project. That's what this is the right? Documenting it, etc. It just gives us a content. It for practice. But you think that everything is going to come out of it? No, then right? So what works for you? You know, managers, the style will be different. Right? There would be one manager who prefers to have a session. Or you have a session that, okay, why don't you go for a walk? Another walk you are having a discussion. Another says, okay, let's sit over, let's meet outside office, and have a chai or a coffee and have a conversation. Somebody who prefers to sit into the room, block specific time, have a point-to-point conversation, and some people will say that no, let's document it, then we'll have. So the giver who gives the feedback, the receiver, everybody has organizations will have a framework. That's the enablers. How to leverage it, customize it, and employees around it is going to really benefit in terms of feedback. My personal bit is the live ones, the real time one, which happens when you're having a chat, discussion with an assignment, or you've done some stuff as clear and as quick. I'm a kind of so it helps if if it's उसके बाद handover, right? So as real in-time feedback is what the organization's tool systems will help. If you put it into perspective and you start writing more clarity. That's what. But how you are going to leverage the tools is something to do. That's what I think everyone.
Well, let's say I've already discussed a lot about difference and why people work from home sort of setup. And my colleagues, you guys have done some sort of recruitment as well. As a recruiter, I think I face the biggest challenge when we speak to any new candidate. पहला सवाल ये आता है सर वर्क फ्रॉम होम इस रोल में या हाइब्रिड वर्किंग है आई कैन टेक अ ब्रेक आउट आई कैन वर्क फ्रॉम होम एंड बी अ हाइब्रिड पर्सन so several people have over period has a need to completely go. Now it's becoming the way of working. I don't know whether IT technology companies can a hybrid work. When it comes to a product company or a sales level company, it's very difficult to really show that you are a complete work from home and hybrid work. I think as an organization, depending on the industry, there has to be a policy in place, uh, and then people involved take involved. For example, when I say to her, again, a product based you are doing a policy for employees that you're not you can you don't have to work either way, completely work in the office. But let's say it's really badly. And I want to say if it's at home, office and well, I think definitely speak to a manager offer a work from home. But is that really you find the policy that to completely work from home or do you have it's very expected to come to that there are exceptions. So we don't just because all junior managers take the exceptions and move on. This is something which has worked in a big product-based company. But again, one of my friends who worked with an IT company has changed 3 jobs. And that he is not really gone to the office. So he has joined the organization in a very virtual setup, learned the organization in a virtual setup. And every told me that when I changed 3 jobs in 3 years, and every time when I left, my manager was when I joined, and when I left the office. So that's more physical interaction. So, well, organization, and I think
So picking on this point, what we've done is so post-COVID, in fact, we are by default a hybrid organization. That means when you read our policy document, the work code says hybrid by default, which means that you cannot really, force people, pull them back to office and nice team, all of that. But it had clauses with it. So when we say by default a hybrid workforce or a hybrid policy, we defined something called as the ultra flex principle. This was in March 20 that we said that yes, we are an organization which is ultra flex. Ultra flex are all parameters, and one of the key parameters there is the work mode. So we introduced 3 to 7 types of work in the organization. First, we had a work from home, work from office, hybrid. There is a 100% work from anywhere, which is a defined work home, where people, and there are about 24% people in the firm who are work from home and who are 100% work from anywhere. But it is completely dependent on the kind of role or the kind of business unit you're a part of. So you could be working on a client where the client wants you to work from the client side, then you will have to work from client side. The parameter here is alpha flex, which means that you choose. This is your role requirement, how you want to operate. We will not push you. Then that brought also the alignment to one of our very, very important values, which is trust. And he was also talking about it. We decided to put the trust parameter and give it the maximum weightage. and told our employee that, hey, we trust you. So we trust you, hence we are introducing ultra flex principle, wherein you choose the work mode. Again, that is how it is. People work from client side, people work from office, this is their need. What we have also done is every city we have about 3 to 4 types of people we were to suggest if the workplace or the office is too far from any place, to choose a nearby WeWork location and work from there. So that's the ultra flexibility which has been offered on work mode. It is not just on work mode. You introduce, I think, within the industry first, you introduce unlimited leave for that employee. It was sounded quite fancy when we introduced it. We added like a year, and it very successful. So that again contributed to the ultra flexibility principle. But the idea here was that yes, hybrid is what we support, but we trust you to make the choice that which form of hybrid you want to work with as an employee. And frankly, it's been 2 years now since we've implemented this. It's working out very well for us. Of course, I think people relationship has been a challenge. We also said because people are in different workforces, right? A team member of the team of 10 people, 5 are working from home, 2 are hybrid, 2 are from office. It's tough to get that common collaboration time a lot of times. So we have defined frameworks where you have to mandate to have every team leader to connect with the team, person, everything. Then it has to be a quarterly, larger team, vertical. That has to happen. So those frameworks, of course, we've developed over the last 2 years. Realizing that, different comforts will have disadvantage. So that is number one. And the second thing is earlier, that a framework around feedback also. So if somebody is performing well, we have a concept called on the spot recognition. And we have introduced or we issue a person a spot and give a wait for the annual award of the firm to reward something. If somebody has worked well on a project, delivered exceptionally, you issue a award people with a certificate, wow, gift voucher, there's a cash over it. But it's on the spot. So what that particular task was. All of these slowly being, so again, there's no fixed success formula, but we're hoping with being a hybrid organization and learning new ways of engaging with people. I think that's work in progress, but so far so good.
Yeah, Kush.
Sure. So I think if I reflect, pause and see, IBM first organization that was from home kind of culture. And I still remember when I left my previous job and joined IBM, and I was asked by my family members that, are you really working to IBM? Because you go work to every day. And my dad-in-law started asking me that, one of his friends' daughter-in-law has been sitting at home for a couple of months, and she's also recently married, been for you also a couple of years back. You know, lots of people this. And it's all old things. Maybe she's in the bracket drawer and that allows her to work from home. So work from home hybrid was not a new term for us. This is what I shared as an example. I'm talking for 2011, right? There has been a lot of flexible policies that are available in IBM and of course with people as well. But coming back on what is that we do and offer to employees and people, we have something called flexible work options. Again, what Sheetal was trying to, articulate. We have everything working. It is your role, and basis the role, you will have certain options that you have to choose. Because even if you're working in a role which requires you to come office, but it could be a scenario that the client has asked you to work from anywhere for the next 3 weeks, right? So you can make changes to your profile on SW from a policy standpoint as frequent as week. Meaning this week I'm working from home, next week I'm going to work from client side, the third week I will be working from office. So we have given those options. Now, giving creating a policy enabling managers and employees that how much is happening on the ground is what we don't really police, right? We don't really police saying, okay, I can see you in the office, but if I'm looking at the data in the FWO, it says you are going to be working in the office. So where are you? Because I'm giving that the principle of the culture that we have in terms of trust, right? That we have in our employees and one thing that we had been struggling a lot is people will start comparing job roles, right? If I know this particular job role allows me to work from home, then when I'm hiring people, and since I'm doing domestic business as the HR head, it becomes very difficult for me to attract people for domestic business because my counterpart who is managing global delivery, they perhaps can work from home, but domestic business most of the times is working from client office because you're managing data centers, right? We are managing really, as I said in the beginning, we do manage many, or almost I would say, all the bank's infrastructure, right? So if something goes down on Canada, which is Canada Bank, our team was working there at the banks, right? So for us, it becomes important because we are the backbone of Canada Bank IT, therefore we have to be at the so how are you really, attracting people, and that is where purpose and pride comes in. You bring purpose and pride when you're associated, that you feel proud when you're working for an account like that, right? And that is where we attract people to work side. But it's predominantly hybrid. You don't have a strict policy saying, hey, you need to come and start working from right? Very recently, we have introduced something called menstrual leave. We are the first one in the industry who have given menstrual leave as a policy to our women employees, right? And we are receiving good feedback. We have been looking at the leave policy, do a lot of analytics on that, right? Because as I said, wellness is something which is at the core. It's just not about physical wellness, it's also about your physical wellness, social wellness, financial wellness. So we have PWEL as a policy, we have tie-ups with many external vendors, and we have a called Agile, where we track things from the perspective, and we go back to the managers and leaders, and we see a trend. It's almost half of the deal. Your people are still at about 20% utilization wise, right? So those are the strategic conversations that the HR is into, and that is what the role of HR has been in coaching, because AI, thanks to AI, that is giving you as much of data and analytics that you would like to have, right? But reading that data and interpreting the data and taking the decisions with the data and with the facts, that will only happen when you do the conversation, because data will come, but you need to have a conversation and decisions, what is working best. So that's the right side.
Thanks. So, there are, we'll move to the Q&A. Who's giving the time?
Like, we have
No, okay, but how much time do you have?
you can go on for this. 5 to 10
Yeah.
minutes.
Okay, so we'll start with the Q&A. So, start to the audience. Whatever questions you have, you can ask.
Oh my God, no questions.
I've asked many questions, guys. Yeah, sure. And while mention if you want anyone specific to pick up that way.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. So, first of all, myself, Sheetal Jerath Sharma. I'm passed out of IIM Kashipur, way back, about a decade or so. And I've been working with GSK, and I have specific questions. One second, I'm from the sheet. Hope you don't mind it. It's a, when you speak about thrive, I think it was interesting fact that the founder having an applicator for both services, and that's relatively very niche an area. Now, and after that, of course, the entire chain kind of diverged, and there were new things which were being demanded, and the companies started offering that as well. So, and I'm sure that you would be having a lot of talent hunt for these newer skills so that they can actually deliver from the company perspective to environment. So, do you feel that from an HR perspective, uh, would you be in a position to say to your CEO or the strategic management that whether the company should focus on specific niches like they started off with and go ahead with that as a policy moving forward or as a target audience that they'd like to cater to? Or would you say that since aggregation was in your DNA, you would rather want that all of these, these post-related activities get combined as an aggregation service and you want to position your in that? Because how would you actually retain talent for such kind of scenario? So that actually might help in even taking consideration of the company. That was my one question to you. And should I have the second right answer or would you like to answer this?
Well, I would like to answer the one. It's a very, very interesting question. I was very, very close with the co-founder. He's also leading the HR function. As you rightly said, the DNA of the organization is the education model, and to hold you to that, the logo of right, it is in the green color actually represent the whole courses, right? And there is we are we say it's pride. It's not the we, it's the we because it represents the centricity towards all. So as that is what the DNA is. However, an organization is known to be like a leader and competitor. But I think the founder, I think is founder, and he is the one who started the organization. He is a person who is very hungry and he really wants to scale up the organization. In the next 1 or 2 years, they're also ready to IPO. There are big dreams that they have. I would say that answering to your question is from a DNA context, sports is again a very, very big business for us. We give a lot of clients within sports. But on the other side, when it comes to really making the organization grow, we have to cater to multiple client requirements. As I mentioned that going for sort of the business that we were initially into, and then we were really not only making our clients happy, we're delighting our customers. And that is where customers are coming back to us saying that hey, what more you can do for us. And that is where the COVID came as an opportunity and to thought of expanding to multiple other horizons. I would say that as Asian professionals, I have to really always I would still focus on exploring the opportunities for the organization. Not only expanding our business as in India, but also expanding business in the TSA markets, Southeast Asian markets. We're also hiring talent. We're also looking at various ways of hiring talent in some of these markets. According to me, expanding the organization and creating for new business always help the organization flourish and grow. And that is going to be my sort of feedback to the employees. I hope I've been
Very much.
Thank you.
Question. You policy discussed for hypo employees. I just wanted to know from you that within Grant Thornton, would it be like that, okay, you identified a hypo in say first year, because you said you require at least 1 year for that identification. And then that tag remains throughout the person as long as he's in the organization or she's in the organization? Or is it like an every year process that you would have to do? The reason for that being, if it's the latter, that it's an every year process, do you feel as an HR professional that eventually people will kick in and the person might become promoted, might get promotions and might reach to a level where it might be very different than what's required to the next level? Or on the contrary, it's normal that the person who will put into the effort and just go into the comfort zone and then not grow itself in the organization? What would you want?
That's a very relevant logical question, I think. Yes, so we declare somebody as a high potential. And one of the parameters which I briefly mentioned, under a high potential was also to get them to in different new roles. So it could be a secondment opportunity within the firm, but maybe help them grow horizontally in the organization, right? So our high potential is valid for 2 years. So that means it comes with a clause, and you are a high potential, you are eligible to the FT program, which is a fast track program, or all these parameters. But for 2 years. That means after those 2 years, the next cohort which we will be evaluating, this person will have to sit for that evaluation to gain that badge. And there are, so basically how the person is declared, there's also a digital badge with the person. So his signature would mention that he's a high potential employee, so that the client stakeholders, the team, the person is working with, they would know if this person is a high potential or just the way to join BPTW, the certification by tenure, they call that. High potential badge also for us has that tenure. So that means ऐसा नहीं कि भाई 1 year तो फिर 20 or 30 you are a high potential. It doesn't happen like that. Otherwise, it again leads to the hyper comfort zone for that person, which we do not want. And we want people to keep striving for that. Right? So, and they do. And I'm telling you, it's one of those toughest things to, crack it through. I've been trying for 2 years. So that is how it is. Yeah.
I'm Banya. I'm a final engineering student from Perennial University. I have a very basic question. You talked about 9 box grid while analyzing the performance of an employee. Would you like to explain it more for students like us who wants to join professional journey by the next year or so?
It's a very crucial question that you asked. So now, line of is module has, of course, performance and choices and potential is another. Now, the kind of evolved organizations that I've worked with, performance comes first, right? And as I said earlier, also that your potential may not be even equal to the not able to perform. But on the other side, if you have high potential, perfect. If you have, so potential. So if you have high potential, but not a performer, you will not consider. If you have a high performer but doesn't have potential, the organization can really work to in building your potential further. Maybe identify for some people. So how does it work is that you as a new through just part of the joining the organization. First thing first is a performance. So a lot of good companies they will always to to perform consistently. It means that the first year the five is highest. First year high rating, but second year the two rating. Therefore, you are out of the race completely. So there is an element of consistency that is first, foundation to the organization. And then there are different philosophies, like I think use the philosophy of ability, agility, and other comprehensive which were discussed with the reporting managers and to understand the dynamics and understand those organs that you can take. But I think first thing first is you need to first do yourself. Very members over here. But first thing first is you really need to do your job well, exceed expectations, and then you want to be identified as well. So how does mind box grid work? Once you are, you have the potential, or you have the very well in the organization. And as an organization, if you do that study, we will try and bucket you in certain within those 9 boxes. Right? Low performance, low potential, there will be people of the performance, high potential, of course, that's a very personalized individual development plan, so it completely depends, but as I again and again I mentioned that we should take the idea, the objective for you should be and we understand the business doing that your domain and perform superbly, and then we move on to.
Thank you so much. Can I add something to this? Yeah, it was very important, especially when you are applying for jobs and you get into a job, to understand that how the performance rating works. Because I think my colleagues did explain in some of the conversation that there are different rating definitions, right? Could be meet expectation, doesn't meet expectation, and exceed expectation, or expects more. These are like English words. This can have an interpretation. You can interpret in a one way, and I can interpret it in another way. So it is important that you're spending time to understand the definition, because that is what is very, very important. You're aligning it not only with the organization but also between you and the manager, so that there's no conflict of the effort that you're going to put for the role that you've been identified versus the feedback that you are receiving, and towards the end when you're rated just at meet the expectation versus the efforts that you were putting in, you thought I will be exceeds, right? That is the rating that I will be getting, but I haven't got, and that becomes a back and forth conflict in the mind. So understanding the definition of performance rating so that you better align your goals and you take consistently feedback. See, feedback is always a two-way communication. It's just not that you will be waiting for the manager or a team member who are you working with to provide the feedback. I think seeking feedback is equally important and practice. So keep things in mind, understand performance rating and asking for feedback. Can speak.
Okay, so I want to ask that how AI has impacted recruitment processes. Is there any tool which is effective? Yeah, sure.
It's open.
It's open for all.
Sure, sure. So, so we do our technical assessments and all our psychometric assessment. We have some culture fits that we're using through our internal tools. So we people has devised their own tool. We have a tool which gives the technical rating, right? And this is something that we're using. We're going to use for our internal people as well. Meaning when people apply for IGPs, we of course look at their performance rating and the technical round that they are getting into, but we would like to use this tool to do the technical assessment. Because for us as an IT company, a lot of things involves around the technical portion. So that is number one. Of course, the data that comes from the tool or the tech assessments that we are doing, that is helpful. But in certain roles, we also give opportunity for people to show and tell using some case studies. Because AI will give a score to a particular skill and a particular competency. But then there are certain real life examples and the on-the-spot scenarios that can only happen when you're into a conversation. It depends on roles. So we have segregated certain roles wherein we will be requiring a case study and a show and tell, a demonstration, how they, definitely their knowledge and their experience to that technology by demonstrating for case studies. So it will time. It could be 2 days time and say, okay, you come and prepare and now show us. So it is advantageous to have tools and certain roles. As I said, these case scenarios are very, very relevant.
So thank you for asking that question. So what I listed questions more on the front of AI and what kind of tools you can utilize for or with respect to making hiring decisions. I hope I answered your question. So I would like to start with how before AI used to work and how it works with the daily body in the organization. Uh, so there is a very important term that we talk about in the it's called people matter employees inside the organization, employee experience. But before we hire a person in the company, it is called the candidate experience. Candidate experience is really important because that decides whether a person is ready to join the organization or not. For example, you have heard this very common term in recruitment. There are a lot of jobs that HR is that we will get back to you. And I'm sure you heard this very commonly. So that is what I talk about is the candidate experience. And from AI front, there are various tools like of course chat, scope pilot. As a recruiter, when I have for multiple roles, I think AI has really helped us in building job opportunities. We used to spend a lot of time with the hiring manager, still do, but I think since LinkedIn is there, in right in front of us. So if I have to hire somebody, uh, which is already matchable, for example, if I have to hire somebody as an influencer marketer in the organization, I can look at several industries, what kind of people are they hiring, maybe some tap on certain points, like what the elements of that role, and create a job description. Tools that equity or co-pilot, those are the keywords, and able to get me some very high level job description. So what is happening is that earlier, when I used to spend around 2 hours, 3 hours creating job description, the time has come down to around 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And it also helps us in making and doing a conversation, a more effective conversation. And that's answer number one. From a tool perspective, I would say, in going back to candidate experience, uh, earlier the way we used to report this is that you have job description in place, you're putting that posting on company or any other job site, getting the applicants, your applications. After that, the only problem is that a recruiter has to run around to schedule interviews or get feedback from hiring managers. I think today the recruitment industry on ATS, application tracking systems, that is working beautifully. One is it actually does a pre-screening screens or assessment for us. So there are based on keywords that will automatically eliminate certain amount of candidates who might contact the role, and we shortlist people who might fit into the role. On the other side, if I'm a recruiter, I'm also able to schedule interviews and also take feedback from the hiring manager. If there is a role that I'm hiring for, there are 5 stages of interview, and I'm doing the ATS. In that case, my hiring manager will be able to see the person's profile, they will be able to either check their join those interviews on time, maybe schedule join interviews on time. But from a candidate experience, when they go for feedback, it is also quite limited. So once these hiring managers are familiar with the CV, taking the interview, they're also able to submit quick feedbacks about the candidate, and then making both the hiring managers and our job easy. So I think these are two ways that AI and tools are helped us. I would like to name 2 tools that I've used. One is Breezy HR that I've used with a company called Nothing. And currently, AI HR has listed the ATS in place. And for a very short time, I've also used a tool called Greenhouse, the product to do this job.
The AI part, I think, is good. This happens. AI is right now. Sometime back we were talking about blockchain. Everything has to be done on a blockchain, right? But one thing which I whatever talks I'm participating into or whatever the meetings and outside the work, there'll be two categories. One, who don't know or have not tried. And the second, who know and have tried or have. So, the first part, a bit generic. He has an AI has a lot of, but it also and it needs to be harnessed in every person. In any very specific to HR, I can tell you as an organization today, my team itself is working on at least three different AI platforms and tools. We are encouraging working to leverage it. I mean, I'm currently overseeing six different projects which can enhance the entire hiring life cycle of hospital. And just to give you some sense, from the moment pre-hire, which is the moment the first time a candidate even looks at their job description, the candidate starts. It continues not till the time the person has come in. Beyond that, the time. Today, what happens if you apply for a job? You look at a job description, you apply for a job. What happens most of the time? Any ATS student, they will look at the profile and say, okay, for this one, if it's fit or not fit, select it. Right? But that organization, as your organization, not many would know, not many would know, are 151 years old in the profile. That's a little right? Is it okay? Tell me an area where we don't offer any area. We talk about government consulting, we talk about electric, water, sanitation. People typically will associate with let's say accounting, tax, and all this kind of consulting. We are talking with IT firms. So what happens when you apply? You get a role. You had understanding of this. This is where I will go. Can it give you maximum opportunity and maximum content? What are the roles are open in the organization? And that's where the AI will come in. Today, okay, one guess, and this is my favorite question. Guess which is the biggest industry in the country? Any guesses? Which is the biggest industry in the country? Any guesses?
So steel manufacturing,
Steel manufacturing, service,
IT, IT
IT.
services.
All of them are going to be wrong. The biggest industry in the country is follow-up industry. So after the interview has happened, somebody has to follow up and then to get a feedback. Then the AI come in, right? All about feedbacks a lot, right? Uh, you'll have to follow up. And and from the manager's standpoint, can there be a tool which can help, formulate? So we did a pilot of, topic. So we have a version of ChatGPT, which is a version of ChatGPT which is really licensed on the back of ChatGPT 4.5. Can you guess which team or which business or which sector picked up ChatGPT the fastest? The adoption rate was highest. Most of us were surprised to see. Just make a guess. Any function, any business, any team you feel like was at the forefront of it, adopting ChatGPT or the version we have ChatGPT. The AI basically through a platform. So we all are using AI, right? The version is the free version which is available. Make a guess which sector, which industry, which function have picked up the most. So you have formed some opinion, right? Yes. You can say HR, work in marketing, business, consulting, business, any admin. Which team? Just make a guess. Where do you think in organizations AI would get very easily picked up and used?
Content.
Content. Okay.
Well done.
Yeah, content is a good guess. But maximum usage we saw was on legal matters, forming legal opinion, interpreting legal laws. And when we started using and we made it available to our team, we were expecting more crime solutioning, technology solutioning, all those areas will work. And legal, which is very tightly controlled way because of the regulation. Maximum usage. So it, it is interesting, surprising in effect.
Any more questions?
Recently, as the hybrid culture has come, employee has started working on and on. So, in a close video over what used to happen in past, employees used to visit office on a daily basis, and now the employees have started getting work for a lesser amount of time. So the digital nomads kind of new concept has come. People have started working not from their office, they just go with their laptop, they just go work, wherever, analysis. So we are discussing on measuring talent today. So what is your opinion in terms of assessing the employees who you are seeing on a daily basis in your offices and the employees who you are not able to see on a daily basis? So the strategy of relating those two employees, how would they differ?
Who do you want us to pick up? So that
Anyone.
Hey, Gaurav.
Right. So there again.
Gaurav, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, so there are again two ways of looking at it. Right? It's not a rule of thumb policy that will be applicable for everybody. However, specifically in a specific use case of the design, the content, uh, the tech, the dev, etc. This specific legislative window that we're talking about tonight. We have productivity tools who are which are like centrally governed, again powered by AI. It depends on which AI tool sort of is governing the productivity. So they measure not just the time spent on a specific depth, which is sort of tasked with. It is on a lot of parameters like about your utility. I mean, there is a benchmark metric provided for every single task that we do. For example, writing the code for a specific task uh, uh, needs to be done in a specific defined time frame, which would say like benchmark time frame. This is a very sort of fundamental example. The productivity tools that one of the tools that we have is going to be responsible for assessing an individual whether the benchmarks have been met, overperformed, underperformed, etc. over a period of time. And if that is the case, it throws out a lead or a lag metric. So lag is what happened, and lead is what is the potential of this employee to sort of slack when it comes to hybrid. You can carry the laptop to go up. But as long as they're meeting the productivity requirement, so generating the throughput that we expected is coming through, it's fine. And similarly, the same rule applies where we have embedded extensions in to a browser or not just to a browser, but in general over the apps that are commonly used as would be a productivity app. Those extensions are very closely monitoring your activity on how is it that your tertiary activities are contributing to the primary objective of the goal. When you're writing something, when you're googling something, when you're sort of when you're on Slack or other collaborative tools, are your tasks in accordance with the task at hand in general or very specific to a project in scope? That again now is synced with if you're using an agile methodology. If you have like if you're using Jira for example to scrum methodology, is it syncing up well with that? So it depends. It depends whether we're using the GPT engine to monitor this or we're using productivity tool in addition to the GPT engine
or we are not using GPT or we do Cortex or any other similar tool that sort of syncs up with the project, with your productivity tools to walk in some of these tasks without metrics. Right, so that helps in at least the decision making of the view. So, बंदा क्या कर रहा है, क्या नहीं कर रहा है. On top of it, if you think that there is a coachability factor needed to materials to sort of revise the benchmark for the role, or force the person to sort of get back to whatever is required for the task. That is layered on top as more of the software side of things. But this is happening as we speak. It is not a single tool that does it. It's actually a combination. And this is what we follow very closely. Going back to your AI question, it is not just in recruitment, but predominantly to the life cycle of the employee. So I hope I have answered some part of it.
Basically, it's outcome, right? More than where and what you are doing is all outcome based. Efforts, very good that we are putting the effort, but once the outcome is what the organizations are leveraging to the tools that Gaurav has spoken about.
Also, I think there's meeting understanding that why all outcomes important. Who is assessing the outcome, his mindset is also important. So a lot of times what happens is there are employees, so if I'm a team leader, 5 employees are coming to office, I see them almost every day. 5 are working hybrid. So it can be over 100% work from anywhere, right? Now there is a concept of proximity bias which comes in a lot of times, right? So people you're seeing more often as a leader, you tend to automatically feel कि यार ये ज़्यादा काम कर. हाँ, so उसमें while outcome is important, outcome अगर आप देखोगे 10 का, broadly I will be able to see कि 8 का ये है, 2 का ये है, whatever. But then what we are doing in as an organization also is while we are tuning to the hybrid work culture, we are also coaching the team leaders or people who are holding these teams together to look at this hybrid workforce or evaluate them in a more inclusive fashion. That's very important. So it's very obvious to have that proximity bias, but then you have to be conscious कि यार तुम वो जब evaluate कर रहे हो तो proximity bias से नहीं कर रहे हो. You're evaluating it on, like he said, on outcome based parameters across. उसमें से कोई भी outcome ये define नहीं होगा कि कैसे जाता है कि नहीं. So there are 5 parameters. It cannot be what is the work mode of the person. Right? So that again, the bias will still come. Because it's very hard to, we're all human. So bias will come, but it's important for us to ingrain in people that they please be inclusive as a team leader and rate everybody on the parameters, keeping inclusivity in.
Provided the role is also that you can work from anywhere and still you are giving that's most important and still you are giving perhaps more weightage to somebody who you see every day in front versus a hybrid. So those are the nudges that the HR function make sure that you give it back to the business managers and you also do regular coaching. That's the role of HR business partners in the ecosystem, right? They will sit with the business leaders, business managers, look at the data and provide the coaching that why you have so many gaps versus looking at the data, the performance data or the data that's coming from productivity tool provides outcome at a similar number. However, you're trying to put a PIP to somebody who is on a hybrid. It's not a performance issue then. It perhaps could be a behavior issue or an insubordination that you're calling someone in the office and he or she is not able to bring herself or himself to office due to certain reasons. So what is the deep dive that you're doing? Is it a PIP required or is it more into insubordination? Is it something that you can do a soft counseling or whatever? So a lot of nudging is required through conversation. So therefore, communication, conversation is very, very important, and that's the role the HR business partner plays in the organization. Performance improvement plan.
We would have loved to take more questions, but due to time constraints, we would have to limit this. But again, we appreciate the active participation and also very, very different insights, different perspectives from our panel. And to personally add into it, so I am an MBA analytics student. I consider myself very far away from HR. But how you guys involved AI, data-driven decision making, I myself would like to go back and have a look at it again. Thanks for great discussion. Moving ahead, So we would also like to extend our thanks to our respected IIM, Mr. Kamal, for his great moderation of this entire panel discussion. Not only keeping the focus on agility and resilience in workforce, but also discussing the contemporary issues at large, and especially related to the Gen Z, as we call ourselves. So we would like to hence present a quality token of appreciation from our end, and I would like Professor Utkarsh to kindly do the honors.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we explain a sincere gratitude to all the guests for enriching the event. The theme, future ready HR nurturing talent for tomorrow's success, resonates deeply with the evolving landscape of the modern workplace. The discussion on HR strategies for agile and resilient workforce was both insightful and thought-provoking. Uh, the diverse perspectives shared by distinguished guests like Mr. Gaurav shared his thoughts about various personalities and how their journey should be individualized and how we should consume learning not only for jobs but for our personal growth as well. So thank you so much, sir. And I would request Utkarsh sir again to hand over thank you. Very valuable insight was also shared by the speaker about agility and how people should be adaptive and they should be given continuous and constructive feedback. So thank you so much, ma'am, and I would request Deepak sir to. Thank you so much, sir. One of the major takeaways from Mr. Shakir is that people should have right attitude and aptitude, and how other things apart from these two are trainable. And we can train candidates over them, but a person should have the right attitude and aptitude, which will help him in further work. Yeah. So thank you so much, sir, and I would request Atul sir to hand in over. Mr. Cook also enlightened us with the thought that we should sorry, ma'am.
No problem.
Ms. Kush also enlightened us with the thought that we should stay as human as we are and we should keep our core principles and core systems aligned with the company. So thank you so much, ma'am. And I would request Gaurav to expand. Mr. Himanshu Kunjal on the panel has not only high performance, but as a leader is also very important and valuable for us. So thank you so much, sir. And I would request Deepak sir to hand you over the token of appreciation. Thank you once again, all of you, for adding immense value in this event. Thank you.
Uh, So lastly, again, I would welcome Professor Utkarsh to give a token of appreciation to our panel for being a great moderator and being a great show. So thank you. So just a few parting words. This was a great opportunity for all of us, covering all the facets of. And once again, thank you all for such a well created and impactful event. We look forward to future engagements that continue to foster industry relations between IIM Kashipur and great and great personalities like yours. Thank you so much.